Our top story tonight, the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office has announced an arrest in the long unsolved Helena area killing of John Mike Kreitz. Sheriff Leo Dutton says Leon Michael Ford was arrested this morning in Oak Harbor, Washington, charged with deliberate homicide and tampering with evidence. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for waking up with us today. Andy Curtis filling in for Asia Ray, and we start things in the capital city, and we start things at 38 degrees. The Helena Capital Bruins are playing host to their first home game here tonight at Vigilante Stadium, and they're looking to get their first win on the season. But the Kalispell Flathead Braves will more than certainly have something to say about that. And they try to get the ball rolling here with a handoff to Alec Thomas, but he fumbles it. Tucker Zanto with the grab, and it's Bruins ball. But even with all the positives of social media, there is a slight downside.
You know, you get negative reviews from time to time. You can't keep everybody happy. We try our best, but I don't have a whole lot of problem with that.
Troopers say the road is now clear.
And of course, we have seen that snow falling all night, certainly picking up. What can we expect the rest of the weekend?
Well, at least for Saturday, conditions a lot like today. Let's take a look at the map. Winter storm warning, that's not a surprise to anyone for a good chunk of the state. That's the pink area, and that's going to last until Sunday. Also, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many stores saw toilet paper fly off their shelves. Luckily, over the next week, more shipments will find their way to the stores, but I still had to ask the question, what happens if you run out? Oh, man. So you ran out of toilet paper and you found yourself in a bit of a sticky situation. What are some of your other options? Well, there's some obvious ones like using tissue paper, napkins, or paper towels. But the City of Helena Utilities says it's a really bad idea to flush the latter two.
Toilet paper is actually made to start to dissolve when it gets wet. Anything else is not. So anything other than toilet paper is not going to start to break down when you flush it.
Flushable wipes are not actually designed to be flush. They often form clogs and can create a big problem down the line.
Even if they don't cause a blockage, when they get down as far as our lift stations, they start causing bad problems with our pumps.
The city sees thousands of wipes and other items that should not have been flushed every year, which can wreak havoc on the system and cause costly and time-consuming maintenance.
You have to shut the pump down, isolate it, tear it apart, get out whatever's in it and put it back together, and then be on our way, as long as there was no damage done to the pump.
So back to the question at hand. What TP alternatives are there out there? Well, most paper products will work just fine for wiping, like newspapers or receipts. But you're going to want to make sure you bag these up and throw them away, just like you do diapers.
Do not flush receipts or newspaper.
Now let's say you're completely out of paper products. A good alternative then could be using washable cloth rags.
Definitely not cloth rags. Do not flush those.
There's sponges and socks.
Absolutely not.
Many agrarian societies would use corn husks, and the colonial Americans would even use dried corn cobs.
Don't flush corn husks, those can go in the garbage.
And sailors were even known to use some rope soaked in seawater.
Don't flush any rope, whether it's soaked in seawater or not.
Smooth rocks could be used for the scraping method.
No smooth rocks. No rough rocks.
Snow can also be used, even though it is a little bit chilly.
Sure, go ahead and flush snow. Snow will work.
So again, the only things you should be really flushing down your toilet are what come naturally, and toilet paper. And if you do see toilet paper at the stores, only take what you need and leave enough for the rest of us so we don't have to resort to these alternatives. And perhaps more than any other race on Montana's 2020 ballot, the contest for governor will shape the future of our state. Democrat Mike Cooney and Republican Greg Gianforte are the leading candidates to follow outgoing Democratic Governor Steve Bullock. In a three-part series, MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison takes a closer look at where Cooney and Gianforte stand and how they differ on three major issues: the economy, education, and healthcare. True or not, ghost stories are as old as recorded human history. And whether you find them scary or fun, they serve as an important tool to help us stay connected to our past.
as a historian, I've used these stories to really engage younger kids.
New for you tonight, 4 presumptively positive cases of the coronavirus have been confirmed here in Montana. Driving conditions are poor just across the board. They even shut down Highway 200 between Lincoln and Sims earlier tonight. That is still closed. As it turns out, not picking up after your dog isn't only inconsiderate, but it could also cost you some money. According to the Helena City Code, the fine for a first offense of not picking up after your pet could range from $35 to $100. And Republicans in the Montana House on Wednesday advanced another bill that could restrict abortion in Montana. This one involves health insurance coverage for abortion. The House voted 66 to 34 for a bill that would forbid health insurance policies that are sold on the Obamacare online marketplace from covering abortion. We've already had a week of operating on a hybrid session with in-person and remote participation by both lawmakers and the public. How is that all working out?
Well, so far so good, I believe.
Helena Capital got their first win of the season right here at home last Friday night against the Kalispell Flathead Braves. But if they're looking to get win number 2 on the year, they're first going to have to go through the Butte Bulldogs. We'll start things off in the first quarter with Capital moving the ball nicely here. Hand off to Tegan Cozy, who's going to fight his way across the goal line for the first touchdown of the night. Bruins go up 7-0. Well, the news officially broke this morning. Democratic Governor Steve Bullock is running for the U.S. Senate to challenge Republican Steve Daines. When it comes to online shopping, delete emails for products you don't need right now. And if you really feel like you need to buy something online, it might be a good idea to click it and let it sit in your online shopping cart for a day or two. That way you can determine if it's something you actually need or something that might be considered unnecessary. Those temperatures are pushing 50 degrees as we head into the first weekend of 2021. Then down around Helena, temperatures a little bit cooler, but still not too bad. 38, so we're pushing 40 degrees. We're going to cross that 40-degree threshold as we head into the weekend. And Montana's 2 U.S. senators spoke to MTN News today about upcoming votes and actions to address the coronavirus outbreak and its impacts on the economy. Republican Senator Steve Daines said the House passed bill that includes money for public health and safety net components will be on the Senate floor this week.
In with Andy now for a look at what's coming up in his full weather forecast.
Spoiler alert, we've got a few more nice days ahead of us. Beautiful evening in Great Falls, but then again, aren't they all? You don't have to worry about not making rent because once you hop into it, you get paid for your work, and that pay increases as you learn. Blackfoot River Brewing Company was the first brewer apprentice program of its kind. Warmer, drier conditions, I'm going to say it probably 100 more times before the end of this broadcast today. Red flag warning across the state, so please, please, please be careful if you're doing anything outside that may result in a spark. But not all small businesses have let this pandemic slow them down. One Helena bike shop I spoke with told me that business has actually been pretty good.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Could not be more true. I mean, with occupational injury.
First, you're going to want to find an area with as much natural light as possible, but not glaring. Dimly lit rooms like this one can contribute to eye strain and headaches. Set aside a work area where you can have your feet flat on the floor. If you're anything like me, hunting consumes most of your thoughts. And you're counting down the hours until you can get out for the start of general firearms season this weekend. But with another blast of winter weather in our forecast, this year, it's even more important to plan ahead.
Our company's been here 50 years. We've seen all these cycles. This is definitely the biggest one of those cycles in terms of the impact.
The reason, of course, is COVID-19. The virus impacted ammo manufacturers in many different ways, but it all resulted in a loss of production. Combine that with the already high demand for ammunition that we have here in Montana, and you find yourself in the situation we're in right now. One final look at that weather for you, and it looks great. Next couple of days in the Helena area, a lot of sunshine, temperatures, high 80s, pushing 90 degrees across the state on Thursday, so something to pay attention to. And then we've got a good chance of rain Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Empty store shelves were a hallmark of COVID-19 spread across the country. And with that fresh in mind as we near opening weekend of archery season for deer and elk here in Montana, many of us are thinking that having a food source other than the supermarket might not be a bad idea. And if you think getting a bow is a cheap and easy way to fill the freezer, you're going to want to think again. Like any outside pursuit worth doing, the cost of entry into archery hunting doesn't have to break the bank, but have that wallet ready.
Probably between their arrows and their setup, somewhere in that $500 to $600 range probably.
That's on the low end for a bow package solid enough to take down an animal. The cost could double for higher end bows. So let's say for argument's sake that bow package you buy already comes with a sight and a quiver for your arrows. Well, you're still going to need to buy a release, broadheads, at least one good sharp knife, and a rangefinder, making that overall starting price for you just to be prepared to ethically take an animal somewhere between $700 and $800. Now that price, of course, is just a ballpark. If you find some good deals or get hand-me-down equipment, it could be much less expensive. You buy top-end equipment, it could be much more. Add on the price of your resident hunting tags, let's just say for a general deer license. And you're gonna have to get to that animal somehow, so that means investing in a good pair of boots, camouflage, and having gas for your truck. All that doesn't take into account the gear you'll need if you're backcountry hunting or camping. So roughly $1,000 later, and you are ready to hit the woods. That money isn't even the biggest investment you'll end up making. You could buy the most expensive and state-of-the-art equipment. None of it will matter unless you invest the time and practice.
Make sure your equipment is working properly, that you're hitting your target on a regular basis at different yardages. Know where on the animal to shoot, as well. Know where their vitals are.
So if you're looking for a cheap and easy way to get some protein, archery hunting might not be for you. But if you're looking for a great way to connect with the outdoors and your food, stop by your local archery shop. Reporting from the outskirts of Helena, Andy Curtis, MTN News.